13 years ago today in 2012, Americans were attacked in Benghazi, Libya. Terrorists linked to the jihadist group Ansar al-Sharia stormed the U.S. diplomatic compound there, and later the CIA annexed. They launched waves of assaults with mortars, RPGs, and gunfire. And by the time it was over, Ambassador Chris Stevens, Information Officer Sean Smith, and retired Navy SEALs Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods were dead. The attack exposed major lapses in U.S. security planning and response, despite warning after warning about instability in the area. Requests for additional security went unanswered. When the assault began, U.S. personnel were left to defend themselves, relying on a small group of contractors and ground operators who were there, risking their own lives. And one of those men is with us today. His name is Mark Geist. He's a former Marine and co-author of 13 Hours and a hero of that night. Mark, always great to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, John.
We did not want to let this day pass by without honoring you and the other men who were there that night. Just give us your thoughts. It's now been 13 years since this took place, and I think a lot of Americans have forgotten about it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that such a significant incident has pretty much been forgotten. I talk to a lot of people around the country, especially our younger generations. They're not taught about this, or a lot of even 9/11, 2001 as much as they should be in our schools. And that's really unfortunate that we're not building the patriotism that we should be and the love of our country.
Yeah, a lot of people remember, too, the congressional hearings, Hillary Clinton questioned about this. And after the fact, she said, what difference does it make? But that's a very bitter pill to swallow, especially for the family members and the survivors of this incident.
Yeah, very much so. I am going to have the honor tonight. There's an event here in Nashville. Tyrone's mother's going to be here. Glenn's brother's going to be here, as well as the other guys that were in Benghazi with me. And, it's our way of getting together and celebrating the life of Glenn and Tyrone, and honoring them for all that they did and their full sacrifice, and having given their full measure.
I think a lot of people, probably a lot of members of our audience, have either read the book or have seen the movie. Still, after all this time, what don't we know that we need to know about Benghazi?
I think from my perspective, what most people need to understand is, one, the reasoning for the book and the movie was to tell the story of what happened on the ground. We have approximately 173 diplomatic facilities around the world. And at any time, one of them this same situation can happen in another place now. And what most people should take away is that there are young men and women, both in the military and both working for the government, as well as private security contractors, that are willing to put their lives on the line to protect Americans who are overseas, and to carry our foreign policy forward and work for the administrations that are in charge.
It is hard to kind of quantify how important this work is that's been done. And I think there are still a lot of questions about what we were actually doing at the diplomatic compound and why things got to the way they are. And I know there are currently still investigations underway looking into that. What do you hope that we learn that we can prevent this from happening again?
You have to go back and be truthful with everything. It has to be brought out and put under light. If darkness can exist if there's light, and you have to open it up and look at it and be able to evaluate what really happened. How are we going to do this again? And have a full-blown, what we call a hot wash, or where we're going back through, seeing what mistakes were made, seeing what was done right, and how we can make sure this doesn't ever happen again. And then ultimately, you need to hold accountable those who made the decisions to either withhold or delay assistance and help. And the American people deserve the truth and deserve to know why we did what we did, our politicians did that.
None more so than the families of the men we just saw there on the screen.
Amen.
Mark, great to see you. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event tonight in honor of Christopher Stevens, Glenn Doherty, Tyrone Woods, and Sean Smith. They are gone, but certainly not forgotten, and your efforts that night are not forgotten either. Great to see you, Mark.
Thank you very much, John. Have a great day.
All right, that's going to do it for